Jennifer Jeffries is one of Australia's best-known authors and speakers. She's a qualified health practitioner, but better than that, she's also a real person. She's ridden the crest of a corporate boom, had it all, and then had it come crashing down around her. She's travelled the road to corporate burnout, where she decided to change her life. Today we're going to learn what she did in order to live a more balanced life. Welcome to Success Tribe, Jennifer.
Hey Kelly, it's great to be here.
Look, Jennifer, many of us are just so stressed out trying to make ends meet, and we're getting caught in peak hour traffic, working long hours, juggling 2 to 3 jobs, raising tribes of children, and we're really just barely living. Can you tell us a little bit about your own corporate background and how adrenal exhaustion took hold of your life?
Yeah, I'd love to. Back in the killer corporate 80s, I was playing out there in the corporate world, and it was pre-fringe benefits tax, so all business lunches and everything involved alcohol, and it was a crazy time. We worked hard, we played hard, and I very much burnt out. And the thing was, I was living in survival mode, and I was so in it, I couldn't even see that I was in it. People would say to me, Jen, can't you see what you're doing? I'm going, nah, it's good. See, I could tick all the boxes. I had the right job, I had the right house, I had the right career path, right flashy car, all those things were in place. But in reality, I was absolutely chasing my tail and burnt out in a big way. And it was eventually a car accident that stopped me in my tracks. And I met a naturopath, and gosh, got myself so well so quick. I had to know how they did it. And then so I went back to school and studied to be a naturopath, and it changed my life big time.
So that's where you built up your passion for naturopathy.
Yeah, very much. And that's like 24, 25 years ago.
Okay. In Asia, they tend to pay their doctors really well to keep them well, but with our medical model, it seems to be the exact opposite. I'm just wondering how natural therapy can prevent adrenal burnout so that we don't have to go and see our doctors and spend fortunes, down the track on medical bills.
Yeah, I actually got that whole concept, because I travel over there teaching a lot. I have for a real lot over the last 15 years. And it fascinated me that they pay the doctors to keep them well. Even simple things like, having a regular massage or a regular reflexology session, having a regular session every couple of weeks or every month with a practitioner, not waiting, to go off track. That's the thing. Our adrenal glands are recharged best when we're either asleep or doing something like having a massage or meditating. So simple things like bringing some of those practices into our life are really important, so that we make sure that when we are resting, for instance, our body is recharging properly. So I'm big on people having regular treatments, whatever kind of treatment works for them. I'm big on people meditating. It's an absolute practice in my life. The first thing I do every day, as quick as I get out of bed, I'm there and I sit for meditation before I do anything else, because I know how important it is for me to get my body in the state to cope with stress during the day and not come from that place of survival mode, which is where most people do.
For sure. So just coming back, creating that centre first thing in the morning.
Yeah, really important.
Look, I'm just wondering, a lot of people don't understand that there are different stages of adrenal burnout or adrenal fatigue. I'm wondering if you could just explain those stages and what you might be feeling at those different stages.
Yeah, I'd love to. There's your body, or your adrenal glands, are actually incredibly cool. They're tiny little glands that sit on top of our kidneys, and it's where you produce adrenaline, but it's also where you produce your boy and girl hormones. So it's like in the early stages of stress, they actually physically enlarge to help you adapt to the pace that you're going, and so that they can produce more adrenaline. So your body is like, okay, I can go it, I can do it, I can do it. And in that stage, you might start getting things like broken sleep, the classic waking up between 2 and 4 a.m. That's one of the first stages of adrenal tiredness. And people think, I'm just doing broken sleep. And they say, I might hop up and have a pee. But generally, it's their adrenals doing their recharging time, because in Chinese medicine, all the different body systems recharge at different times. And the adrenals are between 2 and 4. So if you wake up alert at 2 a.m. and think, I've got to go to the toilet for a pee, well, generally it's your adrenals that wake you up. And when you're awake, you think, oh, okay, I've got to go and have a pee, where it's not the other way around. So that's a big one. That's a great one to start with. And other simple things like in those early stages, you start getting aches in the neck and shoulders, and particularly right on the top of the shoulder blades and between the shoulder blades. And there, again, Chinese medicine points for... in Chinese medicine, we say when you're depleting your qi, you're depleting your life force, basically. Yeah. And that qi lives in your adrenal glands. When you're depleting it, you get what's called winter-cold conditions, and there aches, and it enters through those points up on the top of your shoulders. So if you're getting, feeling your shoulders going further up towards your ears, for instance, well, that's another sign that you're burning. It's not just crappy, posture at your desk. It's actually a sign that you're taxing your body and not replenishing it enough with what it needs. So your body adapts, or your adrenals adapt at first, and then they go through stage 2, which is where they're not coping quite as well, and then stage 3, which is eventually they just can't get any bigger. They can't produce any more adrenaline. And there's, so many big symptoms, it's huge. But even right at the start, simple things like, doing the tired and crankies, mood swings all over the place, getting the too hards, sex drive disappearing. A lot of people have got low libido. It's your adrenal glands that if your body goes, oh, you haven't got any energy for life, so the last thing I'm going to do is let you breed. So it just shuts those things down.
I imagine then would affect a lot of relationships too.
It does, which causes another stress.
Is it true that your adrenal glands start to diminish and they look like they've aged, like say the glands of an 80 or 90-year-old person when they start to deplete?
Oh, very much, yeah. And it's crazy. I was 27 when I burnt out, and that's 25 years ago, and I find more and more people are burning out at that same young age. It's like we haven't learnt anything. If anything, people have gotten worse at it, which is not good.
Jennifer, you've got a couple of different adrenal quizzes. Is there a couple of questions that we need to ask ourselves to check in to see if we might be suffering from the first stages, say, of adrenal fatigue?
Yeah, the first one I always look at is if someone's doing broken sleep, particularly between 2 and 4 a.m. That's my first thing I ask people. And then I'll ask them about, that point on the shoulders I was just talking about. Things like having a headache in the last month, doing the tired and crankies, low sex drive, just getting a bit, cynical and disillusioned with life. Sometimes it's not quite the helpless stage, but it's like, what am I doing? I'm banging my head against the wall, and you're kind of fumbling around a lot through the day, just not clearing your direction, and not that core kind of energy, not bouncing out of bed in the morning first up and it kind of like, yeah, I'm ready to take on the day. All these things are all, start showing through the different stages, and particularly the early stages of adrenal tiredness.
Just out of curiosity, I noticed with Chinese medicine between the hours of 2 and 4, I'm not sure what exact time it is, whether it's 3:30, but it can also be a liver time, and we might be waking up for the liver. Can that be a little bit confusing?
No, because your body runs different body clocks. So between 1 and 3 is liver, but between 2 and 4 is also adrenal glands. Okay. So there's that's the thing. And Chinese medicine is so cool because it looks at the whole body, physically and emotionally and everything that's going on to it. So, and that's why it's good to go to a practitioner at times to, just to check in where things are at. But as a general rule, liver, do have too much alcohol the night before, and between 1 and 3, your liver can wake you up. But generally, if people are consistently waking between 2 and 4, that's the adrenal time. And the interesting thing about that is that, like I said before, the time that the way your adrenals recharge best is when you're asleep or meditating. But if you're going to sleep, you actually, to recharge your adrenals, you need between 7 and 9 hours sleep. And the first 4 hours need to be before that 2 a.m. So all of us need to be in bed by 10, and then so that we're getting the first 4-hour block before the 2 a.m. and then getting at least 7 to 9 hours sleep a night for our adrenals to have any chance of recovering and recharging through the night.
Yeah, it sounds like that cortisol cycle that you're talking about. And I know that a lot of people are pumping their cortisol up late in the afternoon with things like coffee and perhaps going to the gym too late, 6, 7 o'clock at night at the gym, and their cortisol levels are meant to be coming down rather than going up. And I'm just wondering if maybe you'd like to explain that cortisol cycle and where we should be and what we're actually doing to our bodies.
Yeah, easy. So your cortisol cycle, cortisol is a hormone that's, works with the adrenal glands. And what's meant to happen is, when your cortisol's in balance, it works for you. It helps your body to be able to balance out blood sugar levels and distribute, fat properly around your body, all those kind of things. And it's basically the basic thing that gives us our energy first thing in the morning. So imagine in the perfect world, you wake up peacefully, you've had your 7 to 9 hours sleep. You wake up and you've got tons of energy. So you're at 100%. What's meant to happen is you have this wonderful peace, love and brown rice day. Everything goes according to plan. And by the end of the day, your cortisol is at 10% of what it was when you first woke up in the morning. Now, the problem is, nowadays we don't wake peacefully for starters. We've got this alarm clock that blares in our head. We get out of bed and then we get into the day. And, you know, so many people nowadays, the first thing they do is they've got their mobile phone by their bed and they'll look at their emails and things. That is such a bad way to start the day. You're putting your body in that alert mode straight up before doing anything else. And then, you know, you might get caught in traffic going to work. If you've got kids, they mightn't be quite as organised as you want. And you're chasing your tail first off. And it's interesting nowadays, it's not the little things that bite us that give us trouble. It's the it's not the big kind of stressy dramas that give us trouble. It's the constant little bitey ones that just get you day in, day out, endless little things that are spilled up, because each time we get those, your cortisol spikes again. So instead of your cortisol going down, every time it's trying to go down, it's like, oh, here's another little alert, here's another little survival mode. And by the end of the day, our cortisol is too high. And so then we go to sleep, and exactly, we'll do that broken sleep, because between 2 and 4, your adrenals are trying to recharge. They can't because the cortisol is out of balance. You wake up the next morning and maybe you've got 95% or 96%. And it takes that little bit longer to get out of bed. And then the next day, same kind of cycle. And that's where people get into the trap. The biggest change I've made in my life in the last 25 years, very seriously, is getting that sleep is the most important thing I do all day, and I won't compromise it. I'm an insatiable bugger sometimes, because I'll just, you know what, I'll leave places early because I know how important it is to me to get a good night's sleep.
Yeah, I think if you want to be successful in life and to actually reach your goals, you're going to run out of fuel at the end of the day, aren't you, if you're not looking after that sleep cycle? Yeah, you are. I'm just wondering, you've spoken about emotional toxins before, and I think it's quite interesting how we store fat through our emotions. Would you mind talking about that a little bit? Some people out there might think this is a bit hocus pocus. How does it work, Jen?
Well, it's very much running in line with that cortisol. So when cortisol is in balance, your body just goes, yep, it's cool, everything's working, happy, happy. But when you're running this cortisol kind of cycle where you're living in survival mode, your body starts seeing cortisol as a toxin. And so if you're going to be a stress head, and I know very much in my work, I've met lots of people over the years that are skinny stress heads, and they've still got a high BMI. So it's like skinny doesn't mean healthy. So if someone's a skinny stress head, their body can be still trying to protect them from that cortisol, and be doing it by, you know, encapsulating that cortisol in, you know, the kind of the byproducts of that in fat. And so for me, emotional stress is more damaging on your health than all of the environmental kind of toxins and everything put together. Because in the perfect world, you know, we live this peace, love and brown rice world, and we breathe filtered air and drink filtered water, and we never have any stress in our lives. And the reality is we do have stress in our lives. So we can't make the stress go away. We've got to get our bodies to a place where they can actually manage that stress. That's what's more important.
Absolutely, and I certainly have experienced those emotional toxins with my short-lived body shaping career, just watching some women who might have been in very fine form the previous year but may have had emotional issues the following year and just weren't able to get rid of those last percentages of fat to be in perfect condition on the day. So the emotions are everything when it comes to bodybuilding as well. Just wondering, from your point of view, what do we need to do to release the stresses and to help rebalance the body?
As a naturopath, there's a class of herbs that we use extensively, and they're called adaptogens. So adaptogens are a simple class of herbs that help your body to adapt to the stress. Like I said before, we can't make stress go away. So we classically work with herbal tonics that help to pull down the stress. And a lot of people think, I'm stressed out, I'll just go and get some magnesium. And magnesium is a mineral that's so important to help, you know, take the edge off and help your body handle stress. But there's herbs that are awesome as well. So that's a really important thing. We want to be able to get our body in a place that it deals with the stress. But I'm all about living from a place of prevention, doing that whole Chinese medicine kind of model. And with that, I'm all about turning the happy hormones on first thing in the day. And that can only be done with nutrition. So adaptogen herbs are great to get you in that space, but a lot of people don't realize that when you're, kind of different foods you're consuming can have the ability to do that. And in particular, if you have protein that's sourced from grass-fed animals, and in my book, The 7 Steps to Sanity, I've talked for years about the fact that if I'm going to eat red meat, I only eat kangaroo. And that's because it's a grass-fed animal. And it doesn't mean you go and have kangaroo for breakfast, by the way. But it's about having a protein, or when an animal is fed on grass and the animal is not stressed, because the same way our body chemistry changes when we stress out, and animals does as well, and that's where we take all this crap on. So if you've got an animal that's being fed on grass and it's all relaxed and it's got no antibiotics and no hormones and all the nasty things in it, what we find is the protein that we consume actually contains all of the full spectrum of amino acids, particularly the ones that turn on dopamine in men and serotonin in women, which is really important because they're the happy hormones. So, like I said, I like to eat, if I'm going to eat red meat, I'll eat kangaroo, but if I like to start every morning with a protein shake, but I make sure that it comes from grass-fed animals, and particularly ones in an organic environment. And personally, I use one that comes from New Zealand. New Zealand is still a far cleaner country than so many else in the world, and to get happy New Zealand grass-fed cows and whey protein is a great way to start the day.
Absolutely. I know from my point of view as well, just the fact that the beef that's been grain-fed, you end up with your cows or your steers eating grain with mould. And that mould goes into the gut, and we're actually ingesting that at the end of the day too, aren't we?
Yeah, we are very much. Absolutely.
Yes. Look, I know you're with Isogenics and you're a global speaker for Isogenics, and I'm just wondering how that particular product can help us come back into homeostasis.
Love to talk about that. I'm the biggest skeptical naturopath on the planet. I really am. When I was shown the Isogenics products, actually the two main herbal tonics, the Cleanse for Life and the Ionics, about 2.5 years ago, I was really blown away. I'd just been on stage speaking at a conference about preventing burnout, came off stage and was shown these two tonics that contain the same herbs that I'd been talking about on stage and the same nutritionals, and I was blown away. And when I really started pulling the whole program apart, I got that the formulator, John Anderson, he really gets that, we're a whole being. Now, as a naturopath, I've seen so many programs over the years and gone, no, because people will do, they'll just do a bum cleanse or they'll just do a liver cleanse. They're trying to isolate single body systems. And the reality is we're not a single body system. Everything works together. And for me, because the herbal tonics contain things like the adaptogen herbs, he gets that it's not just environmental toxins, it's not just physical toxins, it's emotional toxins as well that tax our body. We are a whole being. We've got to look at ourselves that way. When we can address all of those areas in a system that's easy to do, and as a naturopath, compliance is our biggest challenge. If anyone's ever had a herbal tonic from a naturopath, far out. We make some crappy tasting stuff sometimes. But herbs are great. So when I looked at the program, it's looking, the guts of the program is designed to pull down that oxidative stress out of the body, get the body out of survival modes, and in particular the adrenal glands, then replenish the body with the right nutrition to start rebalancing, body systems like the gut, getting the right amount of enzymes and probiotics in, telling your body to be able to uptake everything that you stick into your mouth. It doesn't matter. You can be eating, the best organic salads and meats and everything in the world, but if you're still a stress head, you're not going to take up all the nutrients. And I'm all about us feeding our bodies exactly what we need. So that's more important for me. And the program is designed around that. Pull down that core stress, get your body out of survival mode, and then replenish it with the true nutrients that it really needs to be able to thrive instead of just survive.
So important, Jennifer. And if somebody's suffering from adrenal fatigue, whether it's stage 1 or 2, and they go onto one of these Isogenics programs, how long do you think it would take them to start going into that recovery mode? You know, obviously also perhaps doing meditation and some other working in type of exercises rather than working out in order to bring their bodies back into balance.
Yeah, your body runs a blood cycle, which is 3 months. So naturopathically, your body should be able to deal with anything within that 3-month cycle. And I always encourage people to stick on a program for 3 months so we can really see. Because if they've been, you know, I had a woman, for instance, who was really, she clapped out her adrenals in a big way. And she'd been in that state for about 35 years. And so she was living on about a 1 or a 2 out of 10 in energy. And within the first week, you know, she doubled her energy. Now, if she'd just gone, cool, I've got double my energy back, she was going to fall into a heap again later on. She completed the programs for a full 3 months, and she has never looked back. This woman is just thriving. So in the real world, 3 months is a time to make serious change to your body and blood chemistry.
And it sounds like, I think a lot of us just need to really listen to our bodies. We don't listen. We walk over them. We ignore them. We're told not to feel, you know, you've got to be strong and just keep going. But I think these days people are starting to recognise that we really do need to sense into our bodies about the truth of how we really are before we really do blow out completely.
Yeah, and that's the first thing. Just listen to what other people are saying around you and really just listen to your body. Usually so many people are so in it they can't see where they really are, and they're telling themselves stories about what, you know, how they are, but that's not the reality. So get someone to help check in on you, and then just start the process. Yeah, today is a new beginning. Just start the process, and you can have such a different health within 3 months' time. Usually, like I said, within the first week, we've got people sleeping better, their energy's up, that real core kind of energy is up, that brain fog, overwhelm thing's gone, and if their body needs to mobilize, you know, some fats or otherwise put on some lean muscle, all that's happening within the first week. So they're starting to feel and see themselves as different, and that helps to empower them to want to keep going on.
So important. Jennifer, thank you so much for your time today to chat about stress and adrenal fatigue and how isogenics can help rebuild the body. For more details on isogenics, please go to the link below. Thanks, Jennifer.
Thanks, Kelly. Bye.
Bye-bye.